Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. And I've been gone for a while. We did the WWC update, and now we're jumping back into the swing of things here. And it was a good week for electric vehicles, and it was a sad week for those same electric vehicles. So, starting off with Rivian has announced that the tank turn video that they showed off, the thing that made Rivians look really cool, not a selling point, but something that I don't know, stand out a little bit. They showed off tank turn, which was basically you could turn in a complete circle without actually turning in a circle by spinning opposite sides by spinning the wheels on the car opposite directions. You would just spin in a circle. So, with that, that was from 2019. Now they said that it was supposed to come at some point, a software update, and then they just CEO just said that they're not doing it. It ain't coming. It was scrapped for being way too destructive for the trails, the nature areas, and the company is dedicated to protecting those areas, which is a great excuse for not adding the update. Because if people want to do this on their own property, or if you're out mudding and you're in a tough spot, still could be sick to have this feature. So, what the hell? Bring it anyways and expect your customers to do the right thing. I hope a company comes along and is like, well, that's stupid. We're adding it to our vehicle. Like, this is a cool feature. Yeah, it's destructive. Yeah, they're shooting dirt all over the place. They're ruining the ground there. Who cares? It's cool. Let's just have fun. Let's add it to some vehicle and be like, hey, we don't recommend using this, but we understand sometimes you're having fun in a truck and your truck's supposed to have fun. Bring it back, bitch. And it's probably not happening, but it's too bad they're just scrapping features like this. Obviously, it's not that big of a deal, but cool things like this are what is setting electric vehicles apart, and it's a cool way to set your company apart. No one else had a feature like that. Keep it. And it's too bad it's gone. But we'll see what's happening. Ford is apparently eyeing it for the F-150 Lightning, but this article wants them to come to the same conclusion as Rivian. I don't. The more features, the better. The cooler shit you can do, the better. Who cares? Just put a disclaimer. Be like, hey, just so you know, you're probably going to dig some ruts. You're going to shoot dirt everywhere. And it's really bad for your vehicle to have the torque on it like that. But if you want to use it, go for it. We don't care. We're adding it because we're cool. Maybe the Cybertruck will have it. And with that, I don't know. It's sad to see what was seeming to be a headlining feature for them when they showed this off in 2019. It went super viral, and then they're just not doing it anymore. It's too bad to see them going back on things like that when clearly all the development was pretty much done for it. They just literally had to click send. But they're already getting they got hit back for it. So Rivian stock may get booted off the Nasdaq after plunging 90% since launch, which is too bad because Rivian's actually, I believe they're making a great product. Is there some issues? Has there been some problems? Yes, there has been, and their manufacturing is not great. And to be clear, it's the NASDAQ 100 here, but at the same time, I want them to succeed. So far, pretty much all of the companies we've seen go into it that are fossil fuel, the old timers, are not doing a great job when it comes to electric vehicles. And these startups are bringing that innovation. I was just talking about tank turn with this vehicle. It'd be too bad to see it completely gone here. Now, since its record-breaking initial public offering in 2021 when it reached a record high of $129.95, Rivian's share price have lost nearly 90% in value, falling to $14.62 on Thursday. This is a while ago, though, so ignore the Thursday. I believe it was the Thursday before June 2nd, whatever day that was. But, it's too bad because it obviously gives Rivian less money to work with, which is too bad for them. And they definitely went public too soon. This is definitely a company that should have stayed more in the background for a little bit till they got through some of their manufacturing hurdles and then gone public once they had that all figured out. As we know, the company Nikola, which I don't understand how they're still even on the NASDAQ, let alone have they ever even produced a vehicle yet. They've been around forever. People have speculated that their trucks came when they didn't have batteries or motors in them, but they just had the shell and they were talking about the truck still. Whatever. But they also received a delisting notice as of well. Um, Tesla, however, has risen 90%, or sorry, 68% this year, and that's because it's got manufacturing maturity. It's basically just producing and shipping vehicles. It doesn't really have to release new ones. There's none of that. It just does and does. Tesla also has high margins compared to everyone else, which is wild, and will continue to compete with established manufacturers such as Ford and VW. I really do like how the Rivians look. Like, I'm sad that Rivian's struggling so much, but Elon has said it before, and clearly it's true that designing a truck, building prototypes, pretty easy. Reaching scale manufacturing, you're going to hit a wall. And Rivian is currently running into all of the walls head on. And hopefully they can figure it out and save the company a little bit here. Next up here, we'll do this one. Chatbots. ChatGPT, there's other ones. Big deal. Been in the news a lot lately. They're really good. They're getting better, and they're pretty crazy. Now, if you were a National Eating Disorder Association, let's just say that is who we're talking about, the National Eating Disorders Association, and you had about 200-ish, I believe it's 200-ish people being 200 volunteers doing your call lines and answering questions and stuff like that. And you were just like, I don't really want to deal with people anymore. So you hire a chatbot and just like, you know what? All of you are done. We have a chatbot answering the phones from here on out. So nearly 70,000 people last year reached out to a helpline operated by the National Eating Disorders Association. And those numbers have more than doubled since during the COVID emergency, and they still haven't returned to pre-pandemic levels. But now they are shutting down that helpline and replacing it with a chatbot. Now let's talk about, is this the right thing to do? Let's not really worry about what people were discussing on it, other than they did it. It actually went through, like those people are done, they have the actual chatbot running things. Let's just use ChatGPT as an example. ChatGPT is amazing. It's really good at a lot of things. It's pretty well restrained where it's not going to ask you to do dumb things. It's not going to have dumb responses. It'll do okay. Now, one thing that ChatGPT will do all the time, or even Bard, all these other chatbots, is they will sometimes have hallucinations. And that is where this gets weird. If you call with an eating disorder, supposedly this won't happen with this. The bot has like pre-programmed things that it can say and do and try to narrow down and help you out. And it can only give a certain list of responses. It's not able to fully conversate. But let's just say, I mean, it's going to get to that point eventually. If you were talking to a bot and you're like, I have an eating disorder, the only way I can feel good throughout the day is eating a pack of M&Ms every half hour. If I don't do that, I feel like I lost. I know this is a made-up eating disorder. Don't think I'm trying to make fun of people. The chatbot could be like, oh, well, M&Ms cause explosive diarrhea, which eventually will rupture your colon and kill you. Just out of nowhere. The chatbot could just hallucinate and say that, and then you're like, guess I'm done with M&M. More along the lines of just, it's not there yet. Even I can't remember what company they went with for this, but the company that makes the chatbot, the CEO even said, like, I don't think it's this ready for it. But at the same time, he sold it to him. So I don't know what's going on with that. Terrifying to see, though. Hopefully, it's not as bad as you think. I gotta grab water. Holy jeez. I mean, I do think a chatbot can help, and it's probably cheaper. It's probably more efficient than a person. But how safe is it? It can't be that great. But we'll see here what goes on and how this works out in the long term. I mean, when it gets trained up and learns more and gets better at it, like things do, maybe it'll be fine. But for now, it's a little terrifying. And to know we're not there yet where a chatbot's going to replace everybody, to see it starting to replace some things, even if it's just a call center or a helpline like this, as important as those are, even if it's just that's a big deal. I mean, 200 volunteers, boom, gone. And I think they had 14 staff, and like half of those were gone too. I mean, that's a big change to do already, and it's coming for everyone else's jobs as well. Now, Lucid has raised another $3 billion from Saudi Arabia's public investment fund and stock sale. So Lucid needs more money. Somehow, everybody but Tesla is struggling with rising costs. So I don't know what Tesla's doing right, especially for EV production. Lucid's trying to ramp their production as well, and their evaluations keep falling. And the startup produced 2,314 Lucid Air models in the first 3 months of the year, while delivering 1,406, up nearly 300% year over year. And their stock doesn't seem to care. So, of course, what do? You need more funding. We'll see here what happens. It is pretty wild to think that all these other companies are like, we can't do 30, 40K for a car, especially electric. I mean, the way Tesla's doing their batteries, something that Tesla is doing is clearly the right way to do it, and nobody else has figured that out, which is interesting to see. So the investment is expected to close in June 26, 2023, while the PIF will maintain roughly a 60.5% ownership of Lucid's common stock. They've invested around $9 billion in the EV startup following the latest funding. That's a lot of freaking money for a company that's not producing very many vehicles. Not that they're bad. They're good vehicles, but they're not producing them. We got a lot of EV topics today, and we're just going to keep banging through them here. GMC Hummer EV and Cadillac Lyriq will be recalled for potential power loss. Both of these are electric vehicles, in case you were wondering. So what's happening here? So apparently EVs are impossible to build for everyone else, as I just said a little bit ago. But GMC is recalling some 2022 GMC Hummer EVs and some 2023 Cadillac Lyriq SUVs. The company said there may be a problem with various connections, not one, not two, various connections to the EV's high voltage battery packs. So not like you're losing power to like some things, you're just losing power to all of it. So the connection could either be improperly positioned or incorrectly welded, which could lead to a power loss. So basically the wires that run to your source of power for the vehicle just might not be wired correctly, in case you were wondering if your car was going to make it places. Now, clearly it's the safety issue, and the NHTSA also believes that, says it must be addressed. Fortunately, it appears the company is only aware of 5 EVs that are affected by this recall. GM's dealers will completely replace the high voltage battery packs on the impacted vehicles free of charge. So minimum here, they're doing the right thing. They're recalling the vehicles. They're going to replace the things for free, which if you're an EV owner and you bought a Hummer a few years ago, maybe you're part of this recall and you already used like, say, 10% of your battery. Well, you can get a new one, and that's it. GMC also has said that Tesla has the lead in electric cars and doesn't see profitability in 30 to 40K EVs until the end of the decade, so like 5 to 7 years, which is pretty wild to think that Tesla's targeting this, 30K, 25K, that is their goal, to hit a car that starts there at least. Everyone else goes, we can't even do 40K profitably. So if you're buying an electric vehicle and it costs more than 40K, the company's probably making money off you. If it's costing less, they are probably not, it seems to be. And Ford's not the only, or GMCO is not the only one to have this issue. So basically she commented and acknowledged that Tesla has the lead in EV technology, profitability, and scale. And she also said it's not permanent, which we all know it's not. It's a matter of time. She also added about EV profitability that EV batteries costs are still too high to build profitable mass market vehicles that sell for $30,000 to $40,000. But she predicted that EV and combustion vehicle costs will equalize sometime in the later part of this decade, maybe a little bit longer, which I don't think is true. I think the problem is that they're using What has Tesla been trying to eliminate from their batteries forever? Those super uncommon, not good metals. Your zincs, your whatever the other ones are called, because I can't think of them right now. I want to say Tesla eliminate battery mineral. Is that what I wanted to search? Cobalt. Cobalt is the big one. Okay. Cobalt's the big one that they're eliminating here. And I don't think anyone else is bothering yet. I think they're all still building pretty standard batteries. And I think that's the biggest problem here. Need to eliminate those, for one, extremely rare, and for two, extremely expensive minerals that are hard to find. And how do you do that? Got to build different tech. Well, these companies think they need 5-6 years to do it, but Tesla's already doing it. So clearly you don't. You can figure it out and get it figured out. Now, this is a very strange comment, considering that GM is currently selling the Chevy Volt EV starting at $26,500 and has promised a starting price of $30,000 for the Equinox EV. So either Chevy does not care about making money, which seems unlikely, or some of this stuff is not completely true, or they're just making the batteries smaller. Or I think what the CEO was trying to get across here is that if we have the Chevy Equinox that can do 400 miles on a tank, and the electric one, if we're going to hit the same price, if we're going to hit this price target, the electric ones just ain't going as far. Which is probably true. I believe that. And that is probably the biggest thing that they're waiting to equalize here. Because otherwise, what's the point of going EV? You have longer charge times, you have blah, blah, blah. It's just not worth it. So we'll see what happens here with GM's entire situation. Next here, we're praising Ford. Ford, usually I make fun of you. Usually we're not friends, but we're going to be friends today. Because Ford will add the Tesla plug to its electric vehicles in the future, which is fantastic to see. Everybody else do this. It doesn't have to be the Tesla plug. If you can convince Tesla to league that, we'll do a different plug. Who cares? Tesla and Ford have announced a partnership to onboard the latter electric vehicles on the former's supercharging network. So Ford will be able to use Tesla's network, which is insane. They will be adding the Tesla plug, now known as the North American Standard Charging Plug, to its electric vehicles. Thank God. Make it work more like gas vehicles. I don't want to have to figure out what charger to go to. I want to just go to a charger. Bam. Ford gets that. Again, I don't even care what charger they go with. Let's just all use the same stupid charger. Like, same two and have adapters everywhere or something. Let's not all make our own. Now, Tesla announced last year it'll open up its proprietary charging connector to try to make it the industry standard in North America. Hopefully that'll be just the standard in the world. I know that power works differently in some places, but hopefully they standardize things kind of for each plug at least, or something, each power grid. Now, despite agreeing that Tesla's plug was much superior design than its current CCS standard, so Ford went, yeah, ours sucks, and then you're opening yours, so I guess we can use that now, and we'll just switch. But it looks like they were... Wait, I just must have misread that. Oh, Electrotech saying they were wrong. They thought that it was stupid and blah, blah, blah. But Tesla just got a major partner on board, Ford. So hopefully, since Ford is willing to join Tesla, hopefully that will help convince other people to join the Tesla charging network. Because for one, it's the biggest network. For two, the biggest network that has a exact same charger for everything. Just standardize the shit out of it. So Tesla was already going to open up its network to non-Tesla electric vehicles through an adapter that it was deploying on its superchargers. So Tesla was literally so willing to make this happen that they were like, okay, let's just add everyone's adapters to our chargers, which is literally something they were starting to roll out. And now other companies are like, okay, you know, you have to give... Tesla might do a lot of anti-consumer things, some not great stuff sometimes, but like... these kind of moves are the real baller moves and must not be forgotten. So, great to see. I'm glad that Ford's jumping on this. Starting next year, Ford EV customers will have access to more than 12,000 Tesla supercharging networks across the US and Canada, in addition to over 10,000 DC charging networks that are already part of the Blue Oval charging network. This will give Ford EV customers unprecedented access to fast charging. Great. I wonder if Tesla is making any money off this. I'm I mean, I would guess probably not, uh, because they were opening up their network already and starting to offer the plugs. I mean, they'll make more money because people will use Tesla's charging network where they make money off the chargers. But in the sense of like Ford paying Tesla anything, I would guess probably not here, which is a bold move. But I would guess that the end game of we're the biggest charging network. If all your vehicles are charging here, that's X amount of money for us. If X percent use our charger, so there's probably a big win for Tesla at the end of the day. But nonetheless, it's here. Next up, we have a Google Play app, an Android app. After being listed on the Play Store for almost a year, just decided to start recording things whenever it wanted to. So an Android recording app called iRecorder Screen Recorder began as an innocent screen recording app, but turned evil nearly a year after its first release. The app came out in September of 2021, but after an update in August, it began recording a minute of audio every 15 minutes and forwarding those recordings through an encrypted link to the developer's server. So it turns out that there's a reason you trust the big guys sometimes and not the randoms that just make stuff. And this is one of those reasons, which is terrifying to think they're not the only people doing it. We all know that you get ads for things that you talk about and your phone's off, sitting off to the side. Well, this is more proof for you that that really happens. Next up here, TSMC workers routinely asked to find bomb notes in machinery. Clickbait as hell, and I had to click it. It's not as bad as you think here. So to ensure thorough testing and maintenance, workers must find all bomb notes or lose points. So bomb notes here are essentially they'll just put sticky notes in a machine in random spots, and the supervisor will go check those spots and see if those notes are still there to know if the machine was properly checked or serviced or inspected, blah, blah, blah. Workers maintaining and inspecting machines will spot and collect these notes as they work through their daily tasks. If any notes are missed, they will have points deducted. And, TSMC, people have heard, is a pretty terrible place to work because you put nets around your buildings so people don't kill themselves. And bomb finding is their new activity to help make that better. Just kind of wild. Can you, you already have your normal job, but now your job is oh yeah, we gotta go look for the bomb, boys. I missed a bomb note. I gotta go back and do whatever I missed, and then you just gotta go back and find that, or you lose points. I wonder what what does points even lose for you? What happens if you lose points at TSMC? Do they just be yeah, if you get below 0, you started at 100 when you started working here. For every day you do good, you get an extra 5, but for each sticky note bomb you miss, yeah, we take off 30, and then if you get below 0, you just don't work here anymore. To be fair, some of the comments on this article, this actually sounds like a good idea. The negative reinforcement is just stupid, though. A small value reward would put a positive spin on this program, cost relatively little, and be met with enthusiasm by a worker. It is always better to lead with a carrot than to drive with a stick. So make it free ice cream for each post-it note they find. None of these people here clearly know what really goes on at TSMC and the fact that they have nets around most of their buildings. This picture that they somehow picked for this article does not show those, but a lot of the factories do have that, so that is that. And lastly here, we talked about Apple's big headset, their big Vision Pro. I think that's what they called it. But this laptop will not have an actual monitor and will have glasses that will project your screens in front of you, basically being Vision Pro for you. So putting on these glasses will allow users to view a massive 100-inch AR display that only they can see. Multiple windows can be opened at the same time as the screens curve around you and point of view in every direction. To see a specific window, all you have to do is turn your head to face the app. The projection is also static, so you don't have to worry about windows moving around, blah, blah, blah. Now, regarding the specs, the Space Top isn't the most powerful. It apparently runs on smartphone hardware from 2020. So this is a web browsing device, essentially. But this would be cool if it was a little you put your sunglasses on, right? You're at the airport. So you can still see everything, but you get your monitors in front of you, and all you have is your phone out as like your keyboard and trackpad. This could be kind of sick for that. That's not what this is. Like you can see the keyboard here is a little bit bigger. It looks like basically just the keyboard. Okay, it looks like one of the bigger old calculators. Some of you guys won't get that reference, but basically just a laptop keyboard and not the actual display. Now, to power this, there's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset, an Adreno 650 GPU, and 8 gigabytes of RAM, and then you get the keyboard with it. Now, this device weighs 3.3 pounds without the glasses, and the glasses add an extra 0.2 pounds. The battery life lasts a mere 5 hours on a single charge. Now, to be clear, that doesn't actually sound that bad. Other than I'm pretty sure the glasses are wired to the keyboard, so I mean, still for the size doesn't sound that bad, and you get 2 screens. The only question is, this is basically like this is basically just a TV again. Like this is just this is just a personal theater because that's at these specs. You're not doing any video editing on there. You're not doing photo editing on there. You're not doing any gaming on there for the most part. Maybe light titles. I don't think you're playing the latest titles on here. Um, yeah, and so apparently these are selling for 2 grand a pop. It looks like they don't have the price listed on their site or anything like that. It does support Bluetooth for earbuds, but yeah, kind of cool. I mean, we're gonna see so much AR and VR stuff in the next couple years. That's definitely where things are going right now. How useful they will be until hardware gets either smaller or more powerful, we're gonna see. But this is a cool concept at least, and I'm sure there's someone that's gonna buy it. I mean, if you're an accountant, it could be cool. Or you don't do anything like super intensive on there. Probably plenty for that. With that, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.